Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I am Maname Tengse, and I'll be talking about our joint result on the existence of algebraically natural proofs. This is a joint work with Prerana Chatterjee, Mrinal Kumar, C. Ramya, and Ramprasad Saptarshi. Okay, so let's get started. So consider the problem of computing multivariate polynomials. One way to do this is to start with the variables and some constants from a field, and then repeatedly apply additions and multiplications until we finally compute the desired polynomial f. This process also gives us a directed acyclic graph or a DAG for the computation of the polynomial f. We will call this an algebraic circuit for f. So a circuit has two basic parameters. The first one is size, which is just the number of gates or the internal nodes in the graph. The second is the depth of the circuit, which is basically just the longest path from any leaf to the root. We will also use the notation size of f to denote the size of the smallest circuit computing f. Note that this coincides with the fewest number of operations required to compute f in the worst case. So for the purpose of this talk, we'll be using n to denote number of variables and d to denote the degree, and we'll be interested in polynomials whose degree is polynomial related to the number of variables n. So as a consequence, a polynomial f will be called an easy polynomial if its circuit size is also a polynomial in the number of variables n. We will call the set of all easy polynomials Vp. In particular, Vp of n will be the set of n variate polynomials whose degree and size are both polynomial related to n. This brings us to the central question in algebraic complexity, which is that of finding an explicit polynomial that is hard. That is, it requires circuits of size super polynomial in n. Or in other words, we want to find an explicit polynomial that is outside Vp. Here by explicit, we mean anything that is easy to describe, reasonably easy to describe. So for instance, permanent is an explicit polynomial. Okay, so now let's see the main question that we study in our paper, and let's see how it is related to this task. So we want to find explicit hard polynomials. Let's start with an easy case. Consider the set of all cubic univariate polynomials, and we will say that a polynomial is easy if it can be written as alpha y plus beta the whole cube for some alpha and beta in the field. Just expanding this operation will tell us that the coefficient vectors of all polynomials in our class C follow a certain pattern. They are all functions of alpha and beta. In fact, they satisfy a very easy equation that we have written by Q here, which is just BC minus 9AD. Okay, let's draw a picture for this. So this rectangle contains all coefficient vectors of all cubic univariate polynomials. So there are 4 tuples. And this violet circle represents the class of easy polynomial C that we have decided on. If we now draw the set of all zeros of the equation Q, then it will look something like this. It will cover the violet circle completely, which is fine because everything in C satisfies the equation Q, but there could be other things that also satisfy the equation Q, but that won't be a problem for us. What this now gives is that if we find a polynomial h which is outside this blue set, then it is automatically also outside C, which means it is not easy, which means it is hard. Okay, so what did we do? We found an easy equation and that helped us find a hard polynomial. Let's try to extend this to the multivariate setting. So for that, let's just fix on some notation. So suppose I have a polynomial f that is on n variables and has total degree at most d. Note that I can equivalently represent f as a list of its coefficients. And how many coefficients are there? There are exactly capital N coefficients, where capital N is n plus d choose n, which is the number of degree d monomials in n variables. Okay, so with this notation, let's just go ahead. Okay, so now again consider there is some class C of n variate degree d polynomials that is supposed to be the class of easy polynomials for our purpose for this example. Okay, and suppose, yeah, so now suppose this entire rectangle, it now consists of all capital N length tuples, which are all n variate degree d polynomials. And again, the violet circle is the class C of easy polynomials. So suppose we again find an equation, this time let's call it P, right? And this is an equation for C because everything in C satisfies this equation. But there could be other things that also satisfy, but that won't be a problem again. Yeah, so again, automatically, if I find something outside the zeros of C, right, so suppose H is a polynomial whose coefficient vector is not a root of P, then H is automatically outside C and it is therefore hard. But remember that we want explicit hard polynomials. So how do we argue that this is explicit? So at this point, we will appeal to the computability of P. We will insist additionally that P should be computable efficiently. Okay, now because P is a capital N variate polynomial, we want it to have circuits of size poly in capital N. And we would use this to say that, okay, because P is efficiently computable, maybe it has an explicit non-root, right? So that is basically the plan. We have a class of easy polynomials, we find an equation for it, and hopefully we'll find an equation that is easy to compute. And because of that, again, hopefully, it will have an explicit non-root. Okay, so this is going to be our plan, and yeah, this is the one-line summary of this entire slide. That efficient equations can potentially give explicit hard polynomials, right? So now this observation, is it useful, right? So it turns out that it has been very useful, and a lot of hardness results have used such equations. Yeah, these are just some of the hardness results that have been proved using such things, and we have very strong super polynomial hardness results in multiple structured models. So here by formulas, we mean circuits whose underlying DAG is just a tree. The particular results are not important. What is important is that we have seen a lot of results that have been proven using equations. Okay. On the flip side, though, when we come to the general models, the best hardness result that we know for circuits is an n log d bound, which is tight. And the best hardness result for formulas that we know is an n squared bound, which is also tight. Right. So with all this information at hand, it is a natural question to ask whether there are efficient equations for VP. We wanted to find hard polynomials for VP. So are there even efficient equations for VP? Do they even exist? And this is the main question that we study in our paper. Okay, and as you can see, it is intimately related to the question of finding hard polynomials. Okay, so let's get to know this question a bit better. So this question is closely related to the notion of algebraically natural proofs, which was introduced by Grochov, Kumar, Sachs, and Saraf, and independently by Fox, Pilka, and Volk in the recent papers. Their work is largely motivated by the work of Razborov and Rudich from the year 1997 on natural proofs framework in the Boolean setting. So Razborov and Rudich observed that most proofs of hardness, even in the Boolean setting, followed a certain template, and they called this template natural proof template or natural proof strategies. Further, they showed that under a cryptographic assumption that certain objects called one-way functions exist, if one-way functions exist, then there are no natural proof strategies that are helpful for proving super polynomial lower bounds against Boolean circuits. So because the existence of one-way functions is widely believed, this essentially means that any proof of a super polynomial lower bound against Boolean circuits will have to deviate from the natural proof strategies. Will have to deviate from the generally used template. So extending their work to the algebraic setting, Grochov et al. And Forbes et al. Introduced the notion of algebraically natural proofs. Just as we had said on recently, that most proofs of hardness, even in the algebraic setting, follow a certain template, that of designing equations. They called this particular method the method of algebraically natural proofs. Again, analogous to the work of Razborov and Rudich, they showed that under a de-randomization assumption that the class VP had what are called VP succinct hitting sets, there were no natural proofs, there were no algebraically natural proofs for VP. Okay, we will now give the definitions of natural proofs and succinct hitting sets to understand this relation better. So here is the definition of algebraically natural proofs. There is a class C sub little n, which is some subset of little n variate polynomials of total degree little d, and there is another class calligraphic D sub capital N, which is again some subset of capital N variate polynomials. Okay, so with this C and D, we say that there are D natural proofs for C if there exists a non-zero polynomial P in the class D such that P vanishes on the coefficient vector of every single polynomial in the class C. Okay, note that this is just another way of saying that P is an equation for C and it also belongs to D. So if there are equations for C that belong to D, then we say that there are D natural proofs for C. Okay, now let's look at the definition of succinct hitting set. Again, C and D are exactly the same. And this time we will say that we'll say that there are C succinct hitting sets for D if for any polynomial P, any non-zero polynomial P in the class D, there is some polynomial F in C such that the coefficient vector of F is a non-root for P. In other words, the coefficient vectors of polynomials in C somehow form what is called a hitting set for D. Okay, and one thing to note about these two definitions are that they are exactly logical negations of each other. And once we observe that and we replace both C and D with VP, we just get the statement above immediately, right? So let's see what else can be done using this observation. So Forbes et al. In that same paper, they used this particular relation and showed that for several structured classes C and D, there are C succinct hitting sets for D, which meant that there are no D natural proofs for C. And because they showed this for a lot of structured classes, this gives sort of an evidence against the existence of efficient equations for VP. Okay. Okay. So there are some other works of similar sentiment, a similar theme. Okay. The works of Blazer et al., recent works of Blazer et al., explore relations between hardness of membership testing for some algebraic varieties and efficient define equations for those varieties. Okay, and also there is another recent work of Efremenko, Garg, Olivier, and Wigderson that shows some limitations of rank-based methods for proving circuit and tensor rank lower bound. Rank-based methods are a certain special class of equations. I mean, they are certain special class of algebraically natural methods. But again, not all algebraically natural methods are rank-based. Okay, so basically, yeah, all these works and like most of the recent work, most of the work till now on of such a theme has focused on showing that there may not be efficient equations for VP. Okay, but at the same time, none of this works definitively says anything about existence of equations for VP. So this question still remains open. Are there VP natural proofs for VP, or just basically are there efficient equations for VP? Okay, so this brings us to our result. So what is our result? It is as follows. So let little n and little d be some arbitrary numbers that are large enough, and let capital N again be the number of degree d monomials in n variables. Okay. So for such little d and capital N, we show that there exists a non-zero polynomial p on capital N variables, which is efficiently computable, such that p vanishes on the coefficient vector for all polynomials f in VP, which additionally also have small integer coefficients. Note that if we did not have the last additional restriction of integer coefficients, then this essentially says that VP has efficient equations, right? So that said, even though we have this restriction on integer coefficients, it is purely on the polynomial f and it is not on the circuit computing f, right? So if you, yeah. Secondly, this P is a non-trivial equation in that it is non-zero on a sizable fraction of inputs. And this sizable fraction is the fraction of small integer coefficient polynomials. Right? So even in this restricted domain of small integer coefficients, P is still a non-trivial equation. So a one-line summary of a result could be that there exist efficient equations as long as you're interested only in small coefficient VP, polynomials in VP that have small coefficients, or you're only interested in small polynomials with small coefficients, then there are efficient equations against VP. Right. So some comments about our result are in order. So okay, so firstly about the restriction on coefficients of polynomials, how restrictive is that? So yeah, it can be argued that it is not very restrictive because most well-studied natural polynomial or polynomial families have small coefficients, that is the determinant, the permanent, clique polynomial, symmetric polynomials, everything. In fact, it is hard to find well-studied polynomials that have large or growing coefficient size. Okay, so or in particular, such an equation can potentially show permanent is not in VP if someone designs such an explicit equation and shows that permanent does not, and permanent is a non-root of that equation, then it will indeed show that permanent is not in VP. So yeah. Secondly, about the non-zeros of our equations, okay, they are not dense enough. I mean, so usually you would want them to be like you would want your equation to not vanish on a 1 by poly fraction of the input, but we get 1 by quasi poly fraction. Yeah, and a similar result is also known in the Boolean setting due to Chow. Yeah, but at the same time, it can again be argued that finding non-roots of equations is usually not the hardest part of uh, finding explicit hard polynomials. Usually the hard part is in coming up with an equation. So that this again may not be a big restriction. Yeah, but it is definitely a shortcoming. Okay, and again, even though we just show the existence of equations, the non-explicitness of the result comes purely from using hitting sets that are non-explicit. So in particular, if we find non-trivial explicit hitting sets for VP in the future, this will immediately give us explicit equations for small coefficient VP. Okay, so with all these things in mind, yeah, again, a one-line summary about a result could be that perhaps it is too early to dismiss natural lower bound techniques, and we probably don't have enough evidence to say one way or the other. So let's look at some main ideas in our result. Okay, so again, so we want to construct an efficient equation. What we want for this is a property of VP that can also be expressed succinctly. And as alluded to earlier, what we end up using is an object called hitting set. So more formally, a set H of evaluation points is called a hitting set for a class C of polynomials. If for every non-zero polynomial in this class C, there is some point little h in this hitting set H such that f gives a non-zero value on that point. In other words, H acts as a certificate for non-zeroness of non-zero polynomials in C. So the idea is to use the contrapositive of the definition of hitting set. What do you mean by that? So suppose I have a non-zero polynomial and it vanishes on every point in the hitting set, then that itself is a proof that G is definitely not in C, right? And moreover, we know that for all little n, little d, and little s, there exists a hitting set H for all n variate degree d circuits of size s, such that firstly, it has size that is efficient in all these three parameters. And moreover, H only contains integral points, and that too of small magnitude, right? So this has all the right ingredients for us to use. So we use these existential hitting sets or non-explicit hitting sets to build our proofs. And let's see how we do that. Okay, so suppose H is a hitting set with R points. Let's call them H1 through HR. And suppose G is the polynomial whose coefficient vector has been input to our equation. So remember, what we want to do is we want to reject the polynomial G if we are not sure whether it is in the class or not. And if we are sure that the polynomial G is definitely not in our class, then we want to output some non-zero value, right? So how do we do that? So we use the coefficient vector of G to first compute its evaluation at every point in the hitting set H, right? So for H1, H2, so on till HR. Okay, so now again, what do we want to do? We said that if G vanishes on each of the points in the hitting set, then it is definitely not in my class C. So what we will do is we will do exactly that. If and only if all these evaluations are zero, then our equation will output zero, will output a non-zero value. In any other case, we want our equation to output zero. So how do we do that? We will first negate all these evaluations. We will soon see what this means. And then we will take a massive AND, right? So basically we want that only if each of these negations outputs a non-zero value, only then we will output a non-zero value, the equation, right? Which is because if all the evaluations are 0, then all the negations will be non-zero, and only then the output should be non-zero, right? So firstly, and we can implement just using a multiplication. And what do you mean by negation now? A negation gate should firstly map 0 to some non-zero value. We don't care what non-zero value, but every non-zero value should be mapped to 0. Okay, and that's going to be the tricky part. So yeah, okay. So this not is not very hard to implement if you're over a finite field. In fact, this particular equation is the solution for doing that. It exactly does what the not operation is. What is much trickier is to do this over characteristic 0, and the problem is quite easy to see that it will require huge degree, right? Because we have to map every non-zero value to 0, which means any univariate polynomial that we use for this will have those many roots, and unless your domain is somehow restricted, this just means infinite degree or something, right? So to get around that, what do we do? Here is where we say that, okay, we will only work with restricted coefficients and of small magnitude and so on, and then we use Chinese remaindering cleverly to get around this problem. Yeah, so basically that's a one slide summary of our proof. Okay, so this brings us to the concluding remarks. Okay, so there are other results that we prove. So firstly, we prove a similar result for VP over finite fields, because as you just saw, the proof is much simpler over finite fields. And similarly, we also prove analogous results for VNP, a seemingly larger class, which is a good placeholder for the class of explicit polynomials. Yeah, so we also prove analogous results for VNP and VNP over finite fields. Yeah, so now some open questions. So one obvious open question is to say something definitively about the existence of algebraically natural proofs for VP. It would be great to hear something about this, which is more definitive than these results and the previously known results. And maybe we can, get existential efficient. We can prove the existence of efficient equations for smaller classes, but this time without the added restriction on coefficients or something. So maybe all polynomials that have small formulas, or the constant free version of VP, which is called VP0. Yeah, so that's all that I wanted to say. Thank you for your attention, and please feel free to leave any questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And feel free to check out my webpage for references to this work or any of other of my works. Thank you.